Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
Good morning. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning and welcome to the February 1st meeting of the Lorain County Board of Commissioners. I'm not sure where January went, but February's here. Ted Kalo has a dog this morning.
Say hello.
Hello.
Say hello. Come here. Come here. Our featured dog this week is a male mixed breed. He was a stray found in the Midway Mall area. He's got a great personality, really friendly. He's been with us since January 17th. We really need to find him a home. So if you have time this week in balmy Lorain County, stop by our dog kennel and walk the dog around, and he'd like to have a great home.
The dog warden said that we sold 50 dog licenses yesterday, so it was the end of the month. I know I've been hounding everybody, no pun intended, that we had to get our dog licenses in by the 31st, so hopefully you got them in. If not, they double in price. They go from $14 to $28, and that's by Ohio Revised Code, not our rules. Madam Clerk.
Under Resolutions Number 1, Job and Family Services Bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Investments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Appropriations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Transfers.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Advances and repayments.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Kalo.
Aye.
Requisitions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes. There was one 445-12. It was newspapers in a classroom program. It looks like it's an ad for domestic relations. Do we have anyone here?
Dan Ritter's here, I think.
Dan, you want to come up to the microphone and explain the expense for Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
The 445 looks like it's a.
You can't hear us? I'm sorry. Okay.
I can't hear. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
445 is a requisition for the newspapers in the classroom. It looks like it's an ad. Are you familiar with that?
Would it be for Voices for Children?
School, family, assets, community, caring, integrity, investing in kids.
I believe that sounds like it would be for our VOCA program.
Yeah, it looks like it's just a sponsorship for 12 months with the newspaper. It
I
looks
think
like
that's
it's
what it
basically
would be,
just an
yes.
ad.
An ad for Voices for Children.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not actually going towards children, it's just an ad for a program in the newspapers.
Yeah, I would have to.
If you like, yeah.
I saw it.
All right.
Do you want to just hold it?
Yeah, can we hold it for next week?
Just hold that one.
I'm sorry, I just seen that today on that, and I didn't get a chance to give Doug a call, so. Okay, would you be able to get back to us on
You
that?
want me to hold on to this then? Or?
Yeah, you could hold on to it and just respond to the board in an email what it is.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Do you want to amend your motion to include the holding of that?
Yes, I amend my motion to hold that particular item.
Okay, second.
Any further discussion? Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Travel?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Bills?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under the airport, adopt minimum standards for airport aeronautical services at the airport.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, actually, I met with Karen Davis on this year, so there's no increases to it, because I asked for a summary sheet. It's just the same plan rolled over to another year, because we have to do an annual approval of this.
We probably can do it more than annually. I think we adopted a strategy of doing it annually so that we kept it in front of us as we tried to pay the bills at the airport. The recommendation is not to increase any fees and to maintain them. I will tell you that we're charging just about the highest fees anywhere in the state of Ohio for the airport users, and of course, revenue continues to be of major concern out there. But I don't believe that raising fees any further is going to be productive towards getting more utilization out there, which in turn will bring in more revenue through increased fuel purchases and such at the FBO. So I think another year, and we'll take a look at it again at the end of the year.
Okay, so leave it as an annual.
I would leave it annually, so we,
Okay.
again, so we keep it in front of us, that we review it once in a while.
Okay, thank you.
Speaking of airport, I'm sorry.
Good.
Just want to get the board's permission to go out there and talk with the operators. I had a few members from the airport contact me. They have some ways that they feel they could save money, and I'd like to just get the approval to go out there, talk to them, and give you guys a report in a couple weeks.
Works for me. Anything that saves
Sure.
money.
Okay.
Anything further?
No.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Approve change order number 1 to Shoulders Construction, Inc. for a credit of $17,869.60 for unused materials on pavement, crack seal, and pavement markings at the airport.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
It wasn't as bad as we thought, Mr. Cordez? Is that why we saved 18,000?
Well, there was more work that needs to be done, so we really didn't save 18. This is just part of that process. I'm pleased to tell you that it looks like the FAA is going to give us an additional $40,000 that we can couple with this funds to finish the cracks and do some more work out there, which will be over and above our annual allocation. Karen's done a good job pressing them for some additional funding. But as you know, we're still out of compliance on several
A lot of
issues
things.
with regard to the runway, and sooner or later, they're going to come down on us with respect to the maintenance out there. So we did save a bit on this, but we still have a lot more work to do, and had we had more money at the time, we would have did more work. So we'll be bringing something back to you to supplement the work that was just completed.
Thank you.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under the Commissioners, authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary sheet for employees within the jurisdiction of Lorain County Commissioners.
Mr. Cordez?
Thank you. I do want to request a brief executive session today to talk about a potential new hire at the Record Center and Job and Family Services, and a quick update on ongoing labor negotiations, specifically with regard to UAW and Children's Services. Those topics are allowable for the executive sessions under the Sunshine Law, so at its conclusion of our regular board meeting today, we go into executive session and have those talks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Approve and waive the reading of the same in the County Commissioners meeting minutes of January 25th, 2012.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under Community Development, award contract to CT Consultants Mender in the amount not to exceed $5,500 to provide professional services for pre-application work in preparation of Lorain County's fiscal 12 CHIP grant applications.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Approve and enter agreement with Lorain Metropolitan Housing Authority for tenant-based rental assistance using fiscal year 10 CHIP grant funds in the amount not to exceed $11,100. This assistance is for 6 low moderate income households countywide, excluding the cities of Lorain, Elyria, Oberlin, North Ridgeville, and Sheffield Lake.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Under Job and Family, authorized purchase service agreement with West Publishing Corporation to provide a fraud investigation computer program through child support, effective March 1st, 2012 through February 28, 2015. Cost for the year 2012 through 13 is $329.40 per month. Cost for 2013 through 14, cost is $339.28 per month. In 2014 through 2015, the cost is $349.46 per month and allows up to 4 authorized agency users unlimited access to Clear Investigator with Web Analysis Program. Authorized director to execute on behalf of the board with prosecutor's approval as to form and amend for changes in programming content and increased value.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Authorized purchase service agreement with El Centro Lorain for a business English and work experience program for TANF participants for fiscal year 12, effective March 1st, 2012 through September 30th, in the amount not to exceed $12,259. Authorized director to execute on behalf of the board with prosecutor's approval as to form and amend for changes in programming content and increased value.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Under solid waste, approve a request from Second Baptist Church Elyria Adopt a School Initiative for 20 refurbished computers to be used to provide tutoring and homework help to students and provide GED and job training for qualified adults.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Under the engineer, authorized posting of load limit signs that state weight limit reduction by 25% on all Eden Township roads for the thaw and moisture periods in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 5577.07, effective February 1st, 2012 through May 1st, 2012.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Advertised for Oberlin Avenue resurfacing Phase 1 Lorain, notice to be in the Chronicle on February 3rd, 10th, and 17th. Open at 2 on February 28th. Resurface approximately 8,800 linear feet of 4-lane roadway from Cooper Foster Park to West 30th. Estimated cost is $2,323,300, 80% federal and 20% city of Lorraine.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Award contract to Signal Service Warrensville in the amount of $21,900 for Northridge Road, Baumhart Road traffic signal updates. 4 bids were received on January 26th. Estimate was $30,000 and will be paid with OPWC grant and complete within 60 days.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Kayla.
Aye.
Mr. Cortez, County Administrator.
I have no additional comments this morning, thank you.
Mr. Innes, Assistant County Prosecutor.
Commissioners, the engineers are working on a project on Station Road in Columbia Township that involves widening the road and in particular a curve there. In order to do that, we have to acquire right-of-way space from the adjacent landowners. There are like 7 landowners and 8 parcels involved, and there are 2 or 3 landowners that we have been unable to reach an agreement upon the amount that we would be paid to them. The project is time sensitive due to state funding issues, so we can't wait any longer on that. So what I would like to do is ask the commissioners for a resolution of necessity and authorizing the filing of an appropriation petition. We're still negotiating, so we're still hopeful that we won't have to file these, but we're asking for permission to go forward against Maryland property owned by Maryland Fetchit, property owned by Blackmore Grain and Cattle Company. Those are really the same people. And possibly 2 parcels owned by James and Florence Montgomery. And what happens is we file a petition with the court that enables us to proceed with the project, and we continue to try to negotiate a price, and if we can't accomplish that, then it goes to the court, and the court determines what the appropriate price is. But this would allow the project to move forward while we're doing that.
I'd agree with the resolution, Joey. Can we get some more information sent to the Commissioner's Office explaining what the project actually is on a map? And, I mean, Bill, give us some... Yeah, please, if
Yeah,
you
like
could.
how
I'd
much
like that.
property is actually being taken from the property owners? Is it like eminent domain?
Bill?
Yeah, the largest take.
You
Bill?
have to come up to there.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
It's mainly, there's one of a sharp S curve in the road. Now we're doing is flattening out the curve. So we're taking just a strip of land, which I think the cattle company is 0.2 acres, just a strip. And, you know, we've offered them, we hired a consultant, OR Cullen, to do the acquisition in accordance with federal standards. They made an appraisal. They made an offer, counter offer. So they followed all the procedures, but, you know, they just can't come in agreement. The property owners want more than we're willing to give them for the land, so.
The trustees, I'm assuming they've been involved in the project, right?
They're aware of the project. It's our road. It's a county road.
Right.
And-
What is their take on it? I'm just worried.
I don't know
it's
that
their
we want their
residents, so-
opinion. It's something we need to do this, otherwise we can't go forward with the federal aid project. So, I mean, it's not like we're taking anybody's, all we're doing is taking a strip of grass, you know, for use of public, for public
What's the total
purpose.
amount of the project?
It's 2.3 million, and I think the value of the land's about $800.
800?
$800, yeah.
Oh, that land that we're trying to take, the
Yes.
disputed land?
That's one of the parcels. The appraised value was $800.
What are they asking for? Or
I
what-
don't know that I should really give
Oh,
that
yeah.
Yeah, that would be
information out.
illegal,
It's-
Tom.
I mean, it's a negotiation between the parties,
Right.
so I don't
Okay.
really think I want to give that out to public. I don't know, Jerry, if I can or not. but-
Yeah, we need to kind of keep
Right.
that confidential.
Yeah, I think that should be confidential between the parties.
All right. I was just wondering how big of a difference it was, you know, if there's.
Significant.
Okay.
How's that work? Significant work?
I mean, I authorized up what I felt was reasonable beyond the $800, but, you know, we're not close to that, so I think it's just being unreasonable, so we need to go.
So
the
it's just a
second round.
monetary difference, it's not, you know, they just don't want to give up their property for any other
No,
reason?
just monetary.
Okay.
If it was held for 1 week while we got more information, how?
I really don't want to do that because we're under a timeline. The package for the project, what's called the PS&E, the plans are sitting down at Ashland, and they want to file them in Columbus. We're about to miss a date that they don't want us to miss. And
Have all the other landowners agreed?
yes,
Okay, and how many parcels is that?
I think there was a total of 8, and we have all but these 3 here.
And 2 of them are one
2 are one
person.
owner, yeah.
And
And the other one, Montgomery, I think we're about.
we may. in
We're going to
fact
probably close
resolve
on that one here, so we'll be just down to 1 owner.
Is there another step in this process?
No, this is the process. I mean, we made an appraisal, an offer, counter offer. There's some back and forth. Our people from our office met with them out in the field. And the next step is to file an appropriation. It still could be settled before it goes to court. Typically they are. But for us to be able to certify the right-of-way to ODOT, it has to go to court. We get a case number, and then we're on our way with the project.
Is this the largest parcel that's in dispute?
Yes. A large, but it's very small. 0.2 acres, I mean.
Right.
It's not like we're
Oh, .2.
Point
Oh,
zero
I thought it said
point two.
1.2.
No, I think he probably owns 47 acres.
Oh, you
And
do have
it's-
a map.
it's
Okay,
just
we
a
haven't
little
seen
tiny
map
But it's
yet.
all
sliver.
just mostly front footage?
Yeah, it's not even in front of a house or nothing, it's just farmland.
Okay.
I think I highlighted in yellow
Yeah.
the strip that it's in contention.
I would agree to give you the opportunity to at least file it, but let's hope you settle it with the residents.
Is there anything on the property with this that's going to cause
No.
issues, no
No.
creeks or anything?
And it's more of a safety issue to get rid of the,
Yeah, we're
Hard-
trying to flatten that curve out to
Right.
meet current federal standards. So we really don't have any choice but to flatten the curve out to meet the required
or
standards.
pass the deadline for the federal money and then get stuck paying for it ourselves.
Yeah, which I don't, I mean, with this new administration, the Kasich administration, they're adamant that we meet deadlines on these federal aid projects. So I really don't want to miss this deadline because, you know, it could look badly on us for future projects. And I think we're on schedule to meet the deadline, and we file this with court. We'll probably still settle with the property owner at some point in time. But I really would not want to delay it.
Do
Okay.
you need a motion? Because I would make a motion to move forward with
Yeah,
it so that
I'll
we don't.
second it.
Okay.
Any
And-
further discussion?
Just, do the best you can to try to resolve it so these
Yeah,
people
we
walk
will.
away happy.
Thanks, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Kalo?
Aye.
Anything further, Jerry? No. Commissioners report?
Well, last Wednesday, Ted and I attended Sugar Creek, the Sheffield's candidates night, and we had a nice turnout there. Everybody showed up. Marcy Capter, Kucinich was there, but he left, and then the other person in that race, I can't remember his name, but nice kid. Thursday, I went to the Chamber of Commerce yearly event, Getting Ahead of the Curve. Frank DiTilio and the Chamber put on a nice event at the college. And then this past Monday, I had my monthly Goodwill meeting, and a couple things there. I had conversations with Mr. Cortez. The van that we had given them that they take around to get people from doctor's appointments and things like that, all types of different scenarios. And they also take care of handicapped people to get them to where they need to go. Their van broke down. The second van broke down. And unfortunately, we don't have any to give them at this time. And I'm hoping that one will come up for us, or I think they have a grant application in through NOACA to try to get a brand new one. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for them to get that van. Also, in their report, one of the things that was mentioned was they keep 1 million tons of cardboard, plastics, metal out of the landfill, and a total of 3 million tons of items out of the landfill totally. So they do a good service for our community, and they take what they get and they put back into our community. I'm very proud of what they do, and I'm very happy to be on that board. And I think that's the end of my report.
Just a
Yeah.
question. I was over at the recycled center. I don't know if we can do this or not, but I noticed in the old DIY building, we got 10 brand-new buses that have been in there since 2009. Is there a way to switch service and then?
Nope,
Well-
because they would have to go to.
No, they
back to
don't.
the FTA.
Well, it's not just that. They don't want a bus.
They
The
don't-
buses are too
okay.
big. They need the vans, because they're doing this out of their own pocket, and they're spending
Right.
thousands,
Right.
tens of thousands of dollars on trying to help people, but the fuel for the buses would just be astronomical. So they would like to have a van, and I don't think we have any,
Yeah.
except the ones that are rolling on the road right now.
Yeah, I think all those are 21
Yeah.
passengers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, but they also have the issue of those being new. Those would have to go back to the FTA, because we talked about that, or go to another bus system on the brand new ones, because we haven't been able to take those out of stock.
I didn't know if we
Correct,
had any older ones.
We
that
do.
could
I think we
come out.
probably have some older buses, but they need vans, correct?
We have a couple that are for a larger amount of passengers, and that presented some challenges. The rolling stock that we do have that's smaller is still not at its depletion stage, so we're not able to make a transfer
And
of
that's
that
by our
stock.
standards or the transportation standards?
FAA standards,
Okay.
excuse me, FTA standards. So, once it reaches its depletions, we can make a transfer then. I will also tell you that we usually keep our rolling stock well past what the federal depletion schedule is. Usually, we put about twice the miles on them before we consider them depleted, but under the FTA guidelines, it's much less.
Yeah.
Pam said they're doing a really good job over at First Transit on the maintenance, and they're keeping these vans and buses on the road a lot longer than their life expectancy.
They are.
Yeah. They're what the ones there actually from 2009, so we've been able to keep those going for a long time
Yes, sir.
before putting the new ones in. Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt.
I mean,
Just
the
wanted to
only
offer
thing-
that.
I see we have a lot of veterans in our audience. I'm glad to see you here today, and I always love it when you're here, because that's the best sounding Pledge of Allegiance we ever have, is when you guys are here. Did you guys have something that you wanted to talk to the board about today? You can come up under my business if you want. My buddy Sam.
Good morning, Lord. Good morning, Commissioners.
Tell us your name. even though
Samuel Felton Jr. I'm a Lorain County resident and a Vietnam veteran. The reason I'm here primarily today is as sort of a spokesman, the guys elected me to address you, is that sooner or later we're going to have an influx of 2,803 veterans returning home to Lorain County. And what we desire greatly is to see if we cannot have the Veteran Service Commission on 254 moved, number one, to Lorain, so we can have sort of a one-stop shopping. And if we can have some type of amendments to our budget where we can allocate even more funds to help these veterans out. Obviously, we realize that this country and this county is in trouble financial times, but we were thinking maybe with the collective thinking here today, you could make some type of amendment or effort to do so.
Well, do you want to comment on that? No?
Do I want to comment on that?
No?
Well, clearly, the code identifies those services that are provided to the veterans, and the funding pool is real deep if they're eligible for those services. I think that Veteran Services has done a good job getting the resources out there, and when they return, we're going to have to be prepared for more of those resources to be utilized to provide those services. And they have not exhausted the allocations that they've been given, although they have indicated that there's going to be future need.
I did talk to Leon Mason, and he gave me some insight as to some possible monies that might be available for build-out over at St. Joe's. So I'm still working on looking into those, so that could help. But I'm open to that idea.
Thank you so much, because as always, we as veterans are always concerned about the plight and the future of those who've defended this great nation and who are returning home, because they richly deserve every resource that is available to them.
Right.
Great.
So,
And I
It's a
think,
matter of, I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think we have plenty of money available for helping our veterans that come home. Do we not? I mean, in the budget that we have right now, they don't even use up the money that we've been allocating over the years. They don't even use it all. They give it back to us because we give them more than they even need.
That's what a 20%
Yes, and with that
increase.
being said, Lori, I'm glad that you said that, and Mr. Cords as well, because that's why we feel that we need to have some type of amendment to that budget so there can be more money allocated to programs that are developing in Lorain County.
Well,
for
They
these veterans
did
returning
get
home.
more money this year
Right,
than last year.
They got a 20% increase to their budget.
Yeah,
This
they
year,
did.
when everybody else took major cuts. But again, also, it's based on the mandates of the services they provide, Sam. They have to follow within those codes, so they can't necessarily do services outside of that. They're being provided by other, they can't provide medical attention, the VA's there for that.
Right.
You're asking for something, but it's not, I think they're doing everything within their requirements to provide. They haven't said they haven't been, that I'm aware of, like I said.
What are we?
they do have return-
Where are we lacking? Are you
Yeah.
saying we're lacking on something?
Well, I hear my
I hear something
constituents
saying-
behind me
Chuckling,
saying,
so-
I hear my constituents behind me saying yes.
Is-
Well,
Can you be more specific?
Well, to be more specific, I would say that, first of all, the project at Lorain VA Clinic, the Valor Home, it is in need of funding. We're doing what we can by private donations and through our veterans organizations. But is there not some way that some of that money allocated for veterans can't be diverted to that program to help that program along?
The veteran services budget?
Yes, whatever budget, whatever money that we have allocated for veterans,
That
why
is-
can't we divert some of
Sam,
that?
not
Yes?
to interrupt you, but that's Veterans Service Commissioners. We only have the ability to review their budget, not revise or change.
Okay.
So
But they're
I
also-
don't know if they have the ability.
But not to leave it on their
Yeah, I don't
doorstep.
wanna do that,
They're
absolutely
also
not.
somewhat constrained by the Ohio Revised
Revised
Code
Code,
on
what
what
they can and
service,
can't do
what
with their
service they
dollars.
provide. I don't want
That's
to mislead you in thinking
Okay.
that they're not doing something
Right.
that they probably desire to do. They also are somewhat constrained with the requirements of the Ohio Revised Code and where they can spend funds and what they can spend those funds on. They probably have wrestled with this already themselves. And I think that they're working under their mandates quite
Right.
effectively.
There's a good board over there, so they're doing a lot of things for the veterans. I talked to Sam Batunis and Bob Mackin all the time, so I'm sure if they had that ability. But again, as Mr. Cordes says, what revised code allows them to do as veteran services.
well, then maybe somebody needs to do a little bit more research to see if we can find some more creative ways to help out even more. Because a lot of veterans, my own personal opinion, I will take the responsibility for this. I don't feel that they are doing enough for veterans, or else we wouldn't be here in force as we always are.
If I may, Commissioner.
Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
What happens is each May, the Veteran Service Commission is supposed to have a public hearing where they discuss the needs and their budget. So they're supposed to have an open public hearing. And I would guess they're probably in the process of putting together the numbers and considering what they need to do now in preparation of that hearing. They have that public hearing, and then they send over to this Board of Commissioners their requests. So, you need to let your Veteran Service Commission know of your concerns so that they can process that through. Now, if it's something that comes up and is needed before then they would have to come and make a request for an amended.
Yes, Jerry, we're acutely aware of that. Okay. And since you said that, I would suggest that some members of the commission, some members of the Veteran Service Commission, and the Coalition of Veterans all be at this meeting so we can all exchange ideas to see if we can't come up with some creative solution to this.
That's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
Sure, Sam.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think somebody else did you want to say something? You have to come up here, though, and tell us your name and where you're from.
Yes, my name is Herman Buress, and I'm a veteran in the community. And what Mr. Felton was alluding to is that, don't it make common sense to have one-stop shopping right there at St. Joe's instead of having everything spread out like it is? Because a lot of veterans can't even afford to get down to 254. You understand? And 21st Street is a central location, and a lot of veterans come in there to the hospital, and this is what Mr. Felton is alluding to.
Right.
Okay, and I think that is common sense, that if you have one thing centrally located, the Veterans Administration, the hospital there, and the Service Commission, you understand, it would better serve the veterans in this community than having them run from here, over there, this, and like that.
And it does make sense, and I think when you were part of it, when we all sat down together and discussed it, and that was our goal in the beginning, was to make that a one-stop shop.
And it seems like somebody's dragging their feet, or they playing games or whatever, because it should have been done.
Well, I don't think it's anything that we're doing here that would be dragging our feet on it. I know one of my concerns always is cash flow, and with the project being there with St. Joe's and that, and there's been some issues in the past, so that's the only thing that I am concerned about. And with my dad, he was a veteran, he actually used St. Joe's facility. It's just making sure that we're doing what's right for the veterans, again, what's doing it right for the veterans and not what's right for an old building. So that's just my view.
I think a lot of the issues, Mr. Buress, you brought up, it's still a lot of the services that are provided to veterans are in that one-stop shop we currently have on 254 also. You have, the Job and Family Services, the Employment Training Network, the soft skills training. So, I think it's sort of like 6 of one and half a dozen another. The St. Joe's facility is a medical facility in a lot of cases, and now the new Valor Home. So, Shirley, he wants to respond to my comments. Shirley? Mr. Buress. Mr. Buress.
I'm sorry. One second, Shirley.
Yeah, 1 second, dear. Thank you.
In response to your comments, sir, I think that the veterans would be better well served if they were able to come into St. Joe's, and you got the office space already there for them to be interviewed and file their claims in privacy, then you understand it is over there at the current facility, and that's our point, because the building is there, and it ain't, it's about serving the veterans with what we got here. Because as I understand it, we allocated, what, $3.5 million a year? And you're talking about we giving it back. We need every dime of that. With these kids coming home, I hope that you people don't do these veterans like you did the Vietnam veterans.
Please.
We were forgotten.
Absolutely not. Shirley?
Well, since Mr. Innes mentioned that this commission is supposed to have a public hearing every year, I want to know, one, whether they've had one, whether they do that, and whether they advertise it properly enough, and whether veterans have been attending it or not, and who their attorney is.
Do you guys attend the meetings that the Veteran Services has, their public meeting to decide, yes? Okay.
Well, they have more, that's just one public meeting. They have meetings, they're a
No, but I
public
mean the one
board.
that determines the budget.
But also, they're a public board, so they meet periodically to conduct their business. So it's not just once a year that they meet.
Well, Mr. Cordes, you know as well as I do that some public bodies don't necessarily have open meetings in the way they're supposed to, or even advertise that they have. I just think it's very important that these gentlemen who've been speaking about and questioning the needs and how they're being served should have every opportunity to do that, not by special invitation necessarily, although that kind of meeting may be necessary, but it should be a continuous open operation.
Jerry, she asked some questions. Can you answer how they advertise those?
Well, the prosecuting attorney is their legal counsel. We don't attend their meetings regularly, but they know their public body, and all the meetings I've been have been handled properly. I don't review all their agendas or their notices, but as far as when I've been there, they have always done these as public meetings, and there have always been people in the audience there.
And all the commissioners are representatives of the 5 different groups, correct?
Right.
They're all elected by their groups.
Yes, my name is Hill, Jessie Hill. I am a Vietnam veteran. I'd just like to make a comment on some of the things that have been said. First of all, about the public meeting that's being held in May. This is really the first time that we probably ever heard that it was a public meeting dealing with the budget and everything. When it comes to, well, we have been attending some of the Veterans Commissioner meetings, and some of the questions have been brought up about meetings and stuff like that, dealing with the Sunshine Law. The way this county have things set up is you do the minimum. In other words, you do the minimum when it comes to advertising, putting out notice about meetings and stuff like that. I question them about it, and then they go, well, we just do the minimum. We as veterans have went above and beyond the minimum. And that's why we are sitting here today airing our grievances. One thing that when you look at 254, look at the office and stuff, you have no privacy. We have veterans coming back having all kind of issues and stuff. And you sitting here, I'm talking, and you listening to my personal business and stuff. When we leave out of here, you guys gonna go into executive meeting and have your meetings that we cannot hear personal things. Now, why are we gonna subject our veterans to that? I think it's wrong.
And if I can respond, I actually had meetings, and I went over to that building, and we took a tour, and we found office space available for it. And working with Mr. Cordes, we were willing to move the veterans into a different area where they would have had offices, actual offices where you could close the door in order to have the privacy.
Well, and if you go back and you look at St. Joseph, you have the same opportunity to remodel those offices and stuff. One stop, they're talking about one stop. We have veterans with all kind of disabilities. When they come in there, if they need to go file a claim, go for medical, or whatever the case may be, they can just one stop, everything taken care of them. Why are they going to be trying to run around here, 254, or whatever the other location you're talking about, when you have everything at one stop? I think we need to open up our eyes, take a hard look at what's right for the veterans.
Morning.
Good morning, and thank you for taking time with us today. I'm Ray Kurshaw, and I'm a Vietnam veteran. We've spent a lot of time in the city of Lorain, all the different veterans organizations. We try to help all our local veterans. We try to meet the concerns of all of our local veterans. Personally, we have contributed for money so that people can make it back and forth to their appointments at the VA clinic. The one-stop shop sounds possibly like we're trying to move something out of the county and trying to spend more money, but actually what we're doing is trying to look at ways that we can help our veterans. As it was noted, those 2,000 some veterans that are coming back into Lorain County, if you look at the normal percentages that we have right now, we're going to have a good percent of them that will not be able to find a job. We're going to have homeless veterans. We're working on trying to get all the figures so that we can give you an exact percentage. But we're looking at this happening in 2012. This is not something that's going to happen in the next 4 years. In 2012, with the way that the budget cuts in the military are now shaping up, we're going to have people coming back to our area that are not going to be able to control their monetary status at all. And we're there to help them, and we're trying to formulate a way that we can have everybody in one area and be able to help them as they really should be. There are American fighting and support personnel. We also have, I'm not sure exactly of the number, but it's going to be around 40 or 50 women veterans coming back. And we're at this point trying to find a support vehicle for them also. It's not something that we've been normally handling in volume the way that we're going to have now. And all of this is on the horizon. We're all scratching our heads trying to get ready for this. We know it's coming, and we really would like your support. Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
I think, like what Ted said earlier, back when they decided to put Veteran Services over at the Cook's building, because Job and Family Services and all those other services were there, it made sense at the time. We didn't have a VA clinic in St. Joe's then. It was St. Joe's Hospital. So now that there is the VA clinic, and we're going to have Valor Home, it does make sense for the Veteran Services to be at St. Joe's. And then you have veterans helping veterans. You know, they're helping them up on the 5th floor when the Valor Home's filled up. So, I mean, in my mind, it makes the most sense to do that. We need to get with the Veteran Services Commission and see if that's what they want to do, because it's up to them too. So maybe we all need to have a meeting together and come to some kind of an agreement.
Thank you.
My thing is, I just want to make sure that we're getting into a sound investment as well, not with the veterans. I believe in what you're saying with the one-stop shop. My concern is that we're going to put money into a building and that we're going to have issues later on. And I really do get worried that we're going to put these dollars in there and then turn up and end up having a huge problem with the veterans.
Yes, sir. As I understand it, we have some veterans who are qualified for the asbestos removal. We have veterans that's qualified in the construction and everything, and that's providing jobs, okay? And to me, it's a win-win situation, because we have people that own construction companies that are veterans that will do the work, okay? And we already got enough funding and enough posts up there, you understand? And all we need is you guys to support it. You know, instead of playing games with us, man, because we didn't play games. When we signed that check, you understand, we wrote a blank check out for the United States of America. So you guys shouldn't play with us like we didn't play when we committed our lives to defending this country.
I'm not questioning the veterans, the work that you guys could do. My question is just the management of the facility. I'm just looking long-term on it. I just want to make sure that we're getting into a sound investment.
Well, we have qualified people.
He's not talking about
No,
you,
I'm
he's
not
talking
talking-
about St. Joe's itself. He's talking
South
about the...
Shore and things of that sort. So don't take it wrong. Again, my father actually used the facility there and I just want to make sure, and I have relatives that are veterans. Just want to make sure, again, we do what's right for the veterans and that we're not overlooking something and putting money into a building where it's going to turn around and hurt the veterans. That's my concern. And I think that's where we do need to have meetings with all individuals to make sure that we're getting into a sound investment and that we're not looking at a 1 year or 2 year forecast, but we start to look at a 5 to 10 year forecast.
And in agreement, talking about that, just making sure the facility is a long-term viable facility going forward, that the VA is going to actually, we all know federal funding are issues. As you said, they're downsizing the military. We don't know how long leases are going to last to make an investment in that in a facility. And I know most of you guys are from Lorain, but we haven't heard a whole lot from North Ridgeville veterans or Avon veterans or Avon Lake veterans about what they think the convenience of a facility, where they'd like to have it at also. I think that would be amongst all of the groups, and I'm sure you guys get together, all the assorted VFWs, American Legions, and discuss where they felt it might be best centrally located within the county also. Because we've heard it from both sides here. No, we don't want to go into Lorain, and you know what I'm saying? And you guys have heard that too, I'm sure. I'm not saying anything that's out of the ordinary. Okay. But, you know, it'd be one of those discussions with Veteran Service Commissioners where they felt it was best and where they thought they could take care of the bulk of the veterans within the county, and especially in light of our transportation issues. As you said, Ray, you had to find ways to get people moved around to get to appointments and such. So, I mean, it's a larger picture than just where the office is located, I think, to look at.
All right, that's the end of my report.
All done?
Yeah.
No, I thought we were all done.
No, you guys still get to talk.
Okay, well,
I'll let you talk for a
Mr.
minute.
Kokoski talked about
you get 2
everything
minutes.
else, so,
You get
okay.
2 minutes, sorry.
I don't even need that much. But also in regards to the chamber, Paul Campagna stepping down as a chairperson did a fantastic job, especially during this difficult times, and good luck to Lynn Miggins, who's the new chairperson of the County Chamber of Commerce, and good luck to the new trustees who are in charge. End of my report.
I think everyone's seen this. There was a press release by the sheriff that they're going to be stepping up patrol for the Super Bowl. So just State Route 2, Route 57, State Route 2 and State Route 57, Grafton and Fuller Roads, State Route 301 and 303. No, it's a big celebration. Just be careful out there and remember that that one extra drink can change and devastate a family. So please be responsible on that. That's the end of my report.
Okay.
Board correspondence?
I move the reading be waived.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
Public comment?
Anybody else wishing to address the board for any reason at all? Seeing none, I move we go into executive session as outlined by the administrator.
Second.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Kayla?
Aye.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.